Welcome, friends. Thanks for joining us on the annual fifth quarter preseason special, this year built by Trinity Homes, along with Shelby Cassesse and Ben Eshenbaugh. I'm Joe Brocato.
Coming up tonight on the show, we will tour North Central West Virginia, introducing you to all 27 area teams as they get ready to open up their respective seasons over the next 2 weekends.
For more in-depth coverage of all of the area squads, be sure to check out WDTV.com for comprehensive preseason previews.
A dozen area teams finished one win short of postseason consideration a year ago. We'll begin by taking a look at all of those teams, and we'll start in Southwestern, where the Minutemen rallied back from an 0-4 start to finish at 5-5 in Dustin Koger's first season as head coach. Lewis was tied for 17th at the end of the season, just 0.3 points outside the playoff cutoff. Now in Class AA, Lewis should be very much in the mix for a postseason spot with an experienced line, a senior quarterback in Thomas Hogan, and a tremendous two-way player in Austin Hughes leading the way.
Second half, we just got healthy. We had a lot of injuries there at the beginning, had a lot of young faces, graduating 16 from the class before that, and just getting them to where we needed to be and what we wanted to do. And then once we got everybody healthy, things seemed to roll pretty well.
Just like the Minutemen, Route 33 rival Buchanan Upshur narrowly missed a postseason spot last fall.
Buchanan Upshur was unable to duplicate their 2014 playoff finish last fall, but how the Bucks ended that campaign shows just how resilient they've become. BU finished 5-5 after a 1-4 start. It'll take more of that mentality to overcome their losses. Only 4 starters returned after graduation has claimed nearly all of their skill position players.
Hard to fill those shoes. Each year is a different year and different kids, but we feel pretty good about what we have, and those guys left a great legacy of what it takes to get to the playoffs and where we need to be. We fell a little short last year, but their legacy is still there, where I think they can pull these guys up and they can look up to them and get us where we need to be.
Staying on Route 33, 2 of Class AA's returning leading rushers hail from Elkins. Both Jarrett Zopp and Corey Gillespie are back as the Tigers move down from AAA. EHS runs a single-wing offense in which the box is stacked with an unbalanced line and up to 4 bodies in the backfield. Now in their 6th year of running that unique set, Hott and his staff have turned to other coaches from out of state to keep the look deceptive to opponents.
All winter long, my coaching staff and I, we talk with those guys constantly. What are you doing here? What are you doing there? To try and add some more deception. Because we have seen our opponents now have tried to do some things to counteract what we're doing in the single wing. So yeah, we're going to throw in some new wrinkles this year.
The Tigers will open up at North Marion in Week 1.
And that game could prove critical to the playoff hopes for both teams. North Marion has a look at a program that's back on the rise. It has been 14 years since the Huskies last advanced to postseason play, ironically enough. Head coach Darren Hayes was a player on that 2002 squad. North was the first team left out of the AA playoff field last fall, but a win over playoff-bound Lincoln in Rachel in Week 11 allowed the Huskies to take some momentum with them. Senior quarterback Kyle Elliott now has an entire season learning the offense brought in by coordinator Mark Yoho, and no one on the Husky Highway would be surprised if they can pull the sled all the way into mid-November.
Elkins and getting that Week 1 win, because essentially an Elkins win last year puts us 13, 14, 12 right in that playoff picture where we got the chance to go on the road and knock somebody off. So we can't leave any of the wins back on the slate, especially with this new inflated AA system.
Just like the Huskies, Liberty's late season push for a playoff spot fell just short.
Yeah, A.J. Harmon's Liberty Mountaineers hit a breaking point last fall. After a 1-4 start, LHS said no more. Liberty won each of their last 5 games, nearly playing themselves into a playoff berth. The youth is prevalent once again in Clarksburg, as many of the ringleaders are only juniors and sophomores. Oh, and local coaching stalwart Bruce Carey is volunteering this fall as well.
The kids we're counting on to make plays aren't seniors. They've only got a year or 2 of experience under the belt, but they don't play like sophomores and juniors, and they certainly don't think so. They've got confidence, and they have enough trust in their teammates and their coaching that they play more experience than they really are.
And Liberty's season-ending 5-game win streak began against Braxton County last fall.
That's right, and that was one of 5 losses for the Eagles last season as they finished 5-5 under second-year head coach Bill Haddix. Only 4 seniors graduated from last year's team, so a majority of this year's team has plenty of veteran experience. Andrew Group seniors focused on making it to the playoffs for the first time since 2012.
Kind of gives you an idea that you can compete, but we lost 4 teams off our schedule last year. We had to pick up 4 teams that are higher as far as numbers in their school, which should make them better. That doesn't mean they're going to be, but they have an opportunity because they have more kids.
And Haddix is looking to lead a third team to the state playoffs. He has already done so with Tucker County and East Fairmont.
Moving to the Class A bracket now, a Week 11 loss at Tucker County kept Notre Dame from reaching the playoffs for the first time in 3 seasons. The Irish entered that game with 6 wins, but when all precincts reported later that night, Notre Dame came in 17th. Quarterback and All-State linebacker Jordan Miller is now in WVU training camp, and leading receiver Zach Seibel is playing baseball at Garrett in Maryland. Much will be expected of a pair of seniors, Elijah Helsley and Noah Bohanna, as the Irish embark on a difficult schedule that features just 4 home games and a stretch where they'll be on the road for nearly 2 months.
I mean, your goal every year coming in, if it's not getting to the playoffs and making a deep run, I think you're wasting your time. I mean, that's why we're here, teach you kids lessons of life, which it all goes with football, and hopefully we'll be there.
Notre Dame's Week 10 matchup against Clay Battelle is always compelling and often has playoff implications. 2 years removed from a trip to the state semifinals, the CBs went 5-5 last fall. Ryan Wilson's club did rally from a 1-4 start to finish at 500. All-Stater and multiple-year starter Jared Hockenberry has moved on to Marshall, but Wilson is very excited about the experience on his line.
I'd say they all hit the weight room. They all got stronger. I just showed them. I compared their strength from last year to this year, and it's not even close. And they sort of chuckle with it. It's a great group. My gosh, they're coachable. They just do everything we ask, and like I say, they're a fun group to work with.
The CBs finished 19th in the year-end ratings in Class A. Our next team finished 1 spot behind.
That's right. Teller Consolidated wrapped up their year at 4-6, losing their final 3 games, most likely costing them a playoff spot. While the Knights lost several to graduation, they returned most of their skill guys, including Tyler Anderson and Jace Reed, who led the ground game. Although the Knights are a younger team, injury last season gave the underclassmen a chance to gain experience.
Last year we graduated a lot of guys, especially on the offensive line, but unfortunately we had some injuries last year. So, you know, some of those younger guys got some experience. But, yeah, the upperclassmen, they're bringing the underclassmen along. You know, they're showing them what's expected, giving them good work ethic, and you know, hopefully we can build on that.
And the Knights will meet up with the Bulldogs of Doddridge County in Week 2. Despite an 8-2 playoff season in 2014, Doddridge County couldn't repeat again last season, beginning the year with 3 straight losses. Although they won the last 5 of 7, Coach Bobby Burnside will be putting several new faces on the field this season, and some veterans will even be placed in new positions.
Build off the second half of the season. At one point last year we were 0-3, and then we went on a run. But again, that's last year. This is a new season. It's a new group of players, and we just work hard, have a good attitude, and try to improve each day.
And of course, the Bulldogs are looking to return to the postseason after a 1-year absence. The wait has been 2 years for our next team.
Yeah, Tucker County has sat out the past 2 postseasons, but ended 2015 on a high note, knocking off Notre Dame. That game kept the Irish just out of playoff contention. Tucker loses 2-year starting signal caller Daniel Kismore, but returns their whole line and backfield. Luke Pulling steps in at quarterback and will have plenty to work with as he makes the transition to starter.
You got 2 backs beside you that, you know, albeit they're juniors and sophomores, you know, both sophomores, we got 3 or 4 guys that rotate through back there. They're experienced. They're going to be able to help you. And then with that line stepping in front of him, he's got the dream line, you know, for walking in as a first-year quarterback, walk in there with 5 starters in front of him that's been there in the fire before.
We're just getting started on the show. Coming up after the break, a quarter of the area teams are going to work with new head coaches this fall. We will check in with all 7 next as the preseason edition of 5th Quarter, built by Trinity Homes, continues after this 2-minute timeout.
Welcome back to the preseason edition of 5th Quarter, built by Trinity Homes.
New head coaches are in place in 7 of our 27 area squads, but each has already served on the coaching staffs at their schools.
We begin up in Morgantown. The Mohegans don't break in a new head coach very often, but when they do, they usually hire from within the program, just as they have done this year. Matt Lacey was promoted from defensive coordinator 2 months ago. Lacey's been on staff at MHS for 17 years. He inherits a squad that doubled their win total last fall from 4 wins to 8 and a spot in the postseason. Leading rusher Jordan Page and WVU recruit Maverick Wolfley returned to lead a loaded MHS backfield. Despite a major step forward last year, no current player on the MHS roster has yet to win a postseason game.
I'm a Morgantown guy. I played for Coach Glenn McNew, and I coached with John Bowers for 17 years. Went up through the ranks with him as a freshman assistant. I'm a lifelong Morgantown guy. Like I said, my sister went to high school here. I graduated here. So it was my family helped build when we started Pony Lewis Field. And they did Project Mohawk, put the turf down. My parents were big into that.
Robert C. Byrd will head into the season with their third head coach in the last 3 years, but Josh Gurrell is well acquainted with Flying Eagle football. He was an assistant on staff last year and was Byrd's head coach in 2010 and 2011. RCB has 6 playoff wins in the last 4 seasons. The graduation losses were heavy, and younger players will be relied upon to step up and fill spots quickly.
I know exactly what I'm stepping into here. And I know what the kids expect and what their abilities are, and we're going to work to their ability and make sure that we're putting them in the right place to do the right thing. I think up front we're going to be very strong. We've got 3 quality backs, and we've got some skilled kids that came out on the outside. So I think things look positive here.
Gurrell was officially installed as the permanent head coach just 2 weeks ago. Valley Wetzel's new leader also took the reins at his school very late in the summer.
That's right. Logan Miller has been the head coach of Valley Wetzel for less than a month now. Former Lumberjacks coach St. Hiley resigned after accepting an administrative position in the Wetzel County school system. Miller was an assistant with the Lumberjacks for the past 4 seasons. A difficult schedule didn't deter Valley Wetzel from going 7-3 last season and making a playoff appearance. The departure of several veterans, including quarterback Trey Streets, leaves several holes to fill this season.
Well, we lost 11 seniors off last year's team, but the kids this year are really optimistic about this year's team. They're working hard, they're excited, and like I said, I have a great staff that's helping us get along the way. So, I'm really looking forward to it.
So the Lumberjacks are looking for their 2nd consecutive playoff appearance. Grafton is 8 years removed from their last postseason victory, though.
Back in 2008, the Bearcats claimed the Class AA state championship. Rich Board has been a fixture within the Bearcat athletics department. After over 3 decades at the school, Board will lead the Bearcats onto the field as head coach for the first time. And his promotion was very well received by members of the GHS senior class. Grafton has struggled over the past 3 seasons, winning just 9 games, but they do return 4-year starting quarterback Cole Collins to engineer what should be a vastly improved GHS offense.
Just about everything's changing. We're changing how we block, we change how we tackle. Our offense is going to look a little different. Our defense is going to look a little different. You have to realize that under the previous years, half our kids can't block and the other half can't tackle.
All right, one more time.
So now it's a learning situation for everybody.
As I just mentioned, Rich Board has been the longtime athletic director at Grafton. Our next team is also under new leadership in the form of their AD.
Yeah, Gilmer County is undergoing a coaching change as well, but with little change. Isaac Osborne left the program to take over Work County football, leaving Gilmer AD Steve Schuff to take the reins in Glenville. Schuff has coached his players during their youth football years and will lead his son Trey for his senior season as the Titans go for their first winning campaign since 1985.
It's a cool deal. Obviously we're a sports-minded family, and I had an old-timer tell me once years ago, he said, it's the only profession you could ever do and take your kid to work every day. And he's done that since he was 5-6 years old, and it's just built. We became closer because of sports.
And back to the Big Ten, where a 3rd new head coach within the conference has also been promoted within the program.
Just like RCB, East Fairmont is entering a season with their 3rd head coach in the last 3 seasons. Lou Geary has taken the reins of Eastside football. His brother John Geary guided the Bees last year, but John will remain on staff this season. Lou was an assistant on last year's East Fairmont squad that went 3-7, but did close the season well, winning 2 out of their last 3.
We're just excited that the kids came out again, and we're trying to rebuild the program. We have several good athletes, and they are very good in academics as well. So we're teaching everything we can to make them better kids when they get out in the world.
And finally, Greg Hostetler has returned to Hundred to guide the Hornets. Hostetler was also the head coach last year as Hundred fielded a junior varsity squad. After being unable to field a team due to low numbers in 2014, the reboot of Hundred football started last year as a JV team, and it will be complete when the lights are turned on Friday night against Cameron in the Hornets' first home game in nearly 3 years.
Having the JV system last year got the kids back on the field for the first thing, and after that, like the first game, it was a learning experience, and it was such an improvement to the last game we played. It seemed like they improved every game, so which is what we wanted to do. So the experience did help them.
Coming up after the break, we'll look at 4 more area schools who played well into November last fall. The preseason edition of Fifth Quarter, built by Trinity Homes, continues after this. Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Preseason Special, built by Trinity Homes. I'm Shelby Cassesse.
And I'm Joe Brocato. Ben Eshenbaugh will join us for our final segment. We begin this segment with the last 2 local teams standing in the postseason a year ago. Bridgeport is in position to do what no other Class AA team has done, win 4 consecutive state titles. The Indians are undefeated since 2013 against every team except defending AAA champ Wheeling Park. Josh Nicewarner bid goodbye to a senior class that produced 3 Mountaineers in Dylan Tonkery, Elijah Drummond, and Dante Bonamico, but the likes of J.T. Harris, Mackenzie Holmes, and Seth Friel will return for the Tribe. While 18 of 22 starters are gone, many young guys will be counted on who have already seen a good amount of varsity reps.
We're no strangers to having to replace great players, and you know, I've said it all along. I'm not here to find the next Dante Bonamico or Dylan Tonker. I just want to find somebody with their own identity, and you know, we as coaches have to be able to adapt what we're doing to fit their needs as opposed to them adapting to what we need. So we've done a pretty good job of that, and that's what we're going to continue to do this year.
With the exception of their weather-shortened tie against Wheeling Park, no team gave the Indians a better run last fall than Fairmont Senior. The Polar Bears advanced all the way to the AA semifinals, falling at BHS by just 8 points. Like the Indians, the Polar Bears lost an impressive senior class that included the school's all-time leading passer Dom Smith and WVU receiver Nick Davison. But J.L. Abbott brings back a loaded roster. WVU targets Dante and Darius Stills are fixtures on the line, while All-State defensive player Jake Abbott takes the reins at quarterback.
Still got to beat Bridgeport. You know, that's the mountain we got to climb, and we won't reach our goals unless we beat them. So I like where this team's headed. It doesn't matter week to week. I don't care if we're the 100 or the 100. We still got to play.
Fairmont Senior's postseason run began with a win over Lincoln in the first round.
And although the Cougars are still seeking the school's first playoff win, they put together a turnaround season last year, going 7-3 following a 2-8 year in 2014. A majority of the key guys from last season return, including members of Lincoln's dominant offense, including quarterback Kobe Carpenter and receivers Anthony Keller and Chase Riley. Most of the core group returning has seen 3 full seasons of game action.
They're just a great group of character guys, especially you know, our senior class. We have a big senior class, and they've basically all been on the field for 3 years. So it does give us a level of confidence, and it's made everything in the preseason smoother, being able to install and get ready as we prepare.
And Lincoln was one of 4 Harrison County squads to advance to the playoffs last year. All had winning records.
South Harrison was the last of the local Class A teams still standing in the postseason. The Hawks won 10 games, advancing to the state quarterfinals for the first time in a decade. South owned the best defense in the Class A regular season, allowing just over 8 points a game. 3 All-Staters have graduated, and this year's senior class is short on numbers, but head coach Brad Jett has some great depth in a junior class that includes 800-yard rusher Cam Barnett and multiple state track champion Freddie Canary.
What's nice there, you make the playoffs, you get to spend another week with your children, and every game that you win after that, you get to spend another week with them. You know, right now we're not considered an elite team, so we're starting from scratch, and we got to, you know, just paw and get after it and see if we can earn some state respect.
And coming up in our final segment, Ben and Shelby will wrap up the tour of the local area as the preseason edition of the Fifth Quarter, built by Trinity Homes, continues after this.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Fifth Quarter Preseason Special, built by Trinity Homes.
The final 5 teams we will take a look at are all coming off of down seasons from last fall. Philip Barber is hoping new facilities will boost the product on the field. PB went winless last year, but a $1.75 million makeover to their field, concession stands, and locker rooms could provide some inspiration for a higher turnout on game nights. The new BC Bank Park already has spirits lifted amongst the players.
The kids are really excited, you know, and like we told them just as we were having a meeting with them earlier, you know, they're the ones that are going to be the trendsetters here, you know, how this is taken care of and what they do and how hard they work this season, you know, to put a good finished product out on the field.
17 season-ending injuries proved too costly for Preston in 2015. PHS started 3-1 before losing the rest of their final 6 games. For the first time in 4 years, a quarterback battle is taking place in Kingwood. The Knights' all-time leading passer Scott Stone has graduated, leaving signal calling duties up for grabs between Dakota Holt and Joseph Boyles. The transition may not be too demanding, however, as Jonathan Tennant is looking to get back to more grounded pound.
We got some backs that with experience they got last year, and we recently got a returning rusher back he transferred, but he transferred back. So we're going to go with what we've done in the past, which is power football.
From Kingwood to Ellenboro, where the Ritchie County Rebels are 3 years removed from their last postseason berth.
And it can only go up for the Rebels after they went 0-10 last season under first-year head coach Caleb Lawrence. Lawrence is back for his second season with several holes to fill, the largest left by Orlando Berge, who led the team on both sides of the ball during his time at Ritchie. Despite a rocky start, Lawrence is hoping that his second year will show improvement from the first after a greater effort from his team in the offseason.
Freshmen that played last year for me are sophomores now. They've bought in, they hit the weight room, they put on some big gains. You have 3 seniors, they're hungry just because they might only have 3 of them. They're leading by example, like I tell them, so they're working hard to get this turned around.
The Rebels are looking to take the first step in building their program just like Tigers Valley did in 2015.
Yeah, major changes are taking place in Mill Creek. After the graduation of Tigers Valley's all-time leading rusher P.J. Lanham, Chris Dormany is retooling his entire offense to more spread sets. Tristan Dumeyer will pick up as the new feature back, while sophomore QB Jake Tackett enters year 2 with more responsibility.
He's capable of doing anything from running the ball, giving the ball off, throwing the ball down the field. I mean, he can throw the ball 50 yards down the field, so it's going to give us an opportunity to spread the defense, and it's just going to open up the run game for us in that way. But I think we're going to be a throw first, run second offense this season.
And we wrap up our tour at the U. University is the last local AAA team to win a postseason game, and they did so in 2014.
But graduation was probably the most unkind to the Hawks after that postseason run to the quarterfinals. From 9-1 that year to 2-8 in 2015, the Hawks used last season to build experience. The U won the last 2 of their 3 games, though, showing improvement to wrap up the year. Now almost all returning players have game experience, and the team has overall better chemistry.
I will not put up with what I put out. I did a very bad job of coaching last year. We had an us versus them within the team. I wasn't happy with that, and as a result, I didn't act properly, and I put up with too much. That it's changed drastically. These guys like each other. We're doing some team bonding things.
And that'll about do it. Thank you kindly for joining us on this preseason edition of the 5th Quarter built by Trinity Homes. If you missed any of our high school training camp tour stops throughout the month of August, they are all archived at WDTV.com.
And be sure to tune in tomorrow night as we broadcast the season opening contest between Lewis County and Bridgeport. And then on Friday, 11:09 is the time for 5th Quarter on WDTV. Then stick around for 5th Quarter Extra on WVFX on Fox 10 at 11:35. Thanks for tuning in and have a good night.